everyone, welcome back to the Rio Moon Oracle. I'm Rayo, and today we are continuing our Tarot Discovery series with card number 3, the Empress. So, as per usual, we're going to look at the original Rider Waite imagery, and then we'll do some compare and contrast for cards I pulled from other tarot decks of the Empress as well. So we'll get into some keywords, we'll look at the opposites meaning for the cards, and let's continue on the Fool's journey here. So the Fool has met the masculine and feminine energetic forms, I'd say, of those like big spirit energies. So that's that Magician, that's that High Priestess card, right? So now we continue on with the more physical aspects of it with the Empress card. The Empress, who represents the mother energy, Mother Earth, sometimes in this case as well. That big mothering, nurturing, physical, sensual, tangible mothering energy. So, again, Empress is card number 3. And let's go over some keywords real quick. So for the Empress, we have abundance, growth, life, fertility, because of course she's that mother figure, so those all kind of tie in together. We have beauty, feminine power, strong one there, that creation energy, that nurture energy, love and life, warmth, and that like sensuality too. So this is like the divine mother, right? So with the Minor Arcana, we have the queen of each of the suits, and all 4 of these go in and represent the Empress. She is all encompassing. She has all 4 of those elements, all 4 of those pieces with her. Okay, for the original Rider Waite imagery, the Empress, she is sitting on a throne out in nature, completely surrounded by it. We see trees and the river and lots of just nature. We have that wheat kind of down at her feet, representing that like harvest, that growth, that creation. She is also sitting with a big crown on her head and holding a staff. And she just looks like she's on a throne, sitting in her element, sitting in her power, right? And she has the symbol of femininity around her. She is that divine mother. Often in a lot of Empress imagery, she is pregnant. So we see, again, that creation, that life, that vitality, that feminine power of bringing life into the world. So a couple more things. She is very representative of the element of Earth. She's also representative of a Taurus energy in the zodiac, and the planet Venus, which is also that like arts, that beauty, that pleasure. A little bit of moon imagery sometimes here and there too, if we are getting into like that feminine energy, but mostly it's going to be that like Earth, that groundedness, that Mother Earth energy. With her being card number 3 in the deck, we have that growth, that progression, that representative of a triangle, which is also creativity, stability in its own right, different stability than card number 4 with the square, but we get that stability aspect, that growth, that progression in it as well. So some other imagery and meanings for the Empress card that I've attributed to or I've seen. We have those 5 senses, that real deep like actual physical reality because of that like Taurus energy, the physical world. We have that balancing with nature and cultivation, especially with that growth and creativity and creation coming in. Again, Mother Earth, so with that comes the love, the family, everything's harmonious in that picture, like picture perfect family life, right? So we get the harmonious marriage, we get the kids, we get the house, we get the white picket fence, all of that, right? With that beauty aspect, we get like elegance and grace and sensuality. There's also compassion and a strength, but it's more of a gentle strength, not like an outright physical, but it's more that emotional strength, that deep internal strength. There's a lot of wilderness, like wild imagery, so you get that wildness, that, again, connection to Mother Earth and nature. And when it shows up, you might be like birthing something, as like birthing a project, maybe an actual child, creating something, right? So you're creating something big in your life. Okay, so I pulled 4 cards from different tarot decks for the Empress for us to look at today. So we've got a Light Seers Tarot, we've got the Santa Muerte, Back to the Wild Unknown, and the Gilded Tarot. Okay, so the first card I pulled for us is from the Light Seers Tarot. So our Empress in here, she is definitely Mother Nature, right? We see her pregnant with the earth as her belly. And we see she's kind of wearing what looks like a shawl, but it turns out it's like fish and representative of the ocean. And we do see that moon up in the top corner. So definitely her representing earth, representing mother, the nature, representing the planet, and all of creation and life around her. And you can kind of see she's surrounded by this like goldish light, so that can be represented for the sun, and again being the earth, being connected to the earth and taking care of the earth. In her hair and around her wrist we see some leaves and more nature elements there. That is not something I noticed right away, but I caught it as I was looking at her hair for a second there. It's like, oh, there's leaves in her hair, which is very pretty. Some stars all around, and there's definitely that representative of very like sensual energy, very gentle strength energy in the Light Seers Tarot card. It's a very pretty card. I like this deck for all the very pretty imagery. Okay. Next card is the Santa Muerte, the Empress in there. So she is surrounded by lots of flowers, lots of nature imagery, lots of green in there. Once I get into the next card as well, I'll do show some imagery because the Empress and the Emperor match in this deck, which I think is really cool. So she's one half of the whole in this case, that harmonious marriage I was talking about. She's one half of that. So we see lots of different colored flowers around her. We see those yellows and those reds. There's blue butterflies. She's holding that staff again. That is in the original Rider Waite imagery, showing her dominion over things. Again, with that kind of like sensuality, that's the little bit of like hiddenness, that mystery, with her holding the fan in front of her face. And she's got a smile. She's just content. She is happy. She is that mother watching over everything. I think we get kind of that like sun imagery again a little bit with her crown, like the top of the chair kind of looks like the crown, which is also representative of the original Rider Waite imagery Empress. And she's not quite sitting center of it, but it looks both like a sunflower and the sun, which I think is cool. And lots of red in this deck for her, with her dress and her clothing and the flowers that are surrounding her. So a lot of passion and vitality and strength comes with red imagery in color theory. Let's see, anything else for the Santa Muerte Empress here? And I like the blue butterflies. They're really pretty. Not anything else, though, that I'm seeing. So, next one. Pretty simple Empress in this case, but it's classic Wild Unknown all the same, and very gets down to the bare bones, the depth, it drills down to the real meaning, like the just base meaning, right? So you'll see in the next video with the Emperor and stuff, it's also a tree as well, but it's a different kind of tree. So this tree, we see the moon, again, that's feminine energy, the dark, so that's that opposite, right? So not negative as in a bad negative, but the negative as in dark, moon, sensual, intuition, depth, right? And we get that also with some color imagery in this deck for the edge of the tree, for that like purpley kind of pink color. So again, more feminine kind of feeling energy. And something to note for this tree, when we compare it to the Emperor in the next video, is the shape of it, right? So this one is very round, very full, very hearty. This one will also, in terms of like nature, right, will go through cycles. in comparisons, once we get to the Emperor in the next video, that tree does not go through the same kind of cycles that this tree will go through. So this tree is probably one that'll lose its leaves in the fall, that'll go through that death and rebirth period, which is also very reminiscent of feminine energy with the menstruation cycle, and rebirth again and again and again, right? Anything else here? No, that's kind of why I like the Wild Unknown. It gets to the depth, the true meaning of the card and what it represents. And by comparison, if the Wild Unknown is that simplicity and that deep, that just actual full meaning without showing a lot, the Gilded Tarot, on the other hand, has all the pieces. A lot going on in the Gilded Tarot, but a very beautiful deck all the same too. So we see our Empress here. It's hard to tell if she is pregnant or not, but she's holding the symbol of feminine energy, surrounded by the zodiac. So again, that like earthly energy, that earthly connection, spirit energy. In the back, we have what looks like the planet Venus again, so representative of that Taurus energy, which is ruled by the planet Venus. And again, that sensuality, that beauty, that pleasure. Lots of nature energy again, so we see lots of plants and we see animals, some more butterfly imagery. We get rabbits, we get a deer in here, a bird. And lots of different like colored flowers and stuff too. She's got flowers in her hair. That's really pretty. But yeah, so I think it's interesting. So we see, again, for the Light Seers Tarot, in comparison to this one too, we see them, what looks like they're in kind of space too, and are representative of Earth. They are Earth in this case, in space, especially with Venus kind of behind. We get that space imagery as well. Yeah, so a lot more going on in the Gilded Tarot for sure, a lot more imagery, but representative of the Empress all the same. Okay, so that is all of our tarot cards today. So a lot of common imagery we've seen is definitely that plant life, right? So it shows lots of growth and abundance, that connection to nature. We also see a lot of animal life, representing that life force energy, creation. Again, another connection to nature and birthing all creatures of the earth. Lots of color in the Empress imageries as well. So we get that like vibrancies in the reds. We get that femininity in like the purples and the pinks. Energy in like the yellows that are surrounding those yellows and oranges. So just lots of color come to mind when I think of the Empress card and that connection to it. Color imagery is all over the place. You see it constantly. And if you know what you're looking for and what it can mean, it adds just another depth, another layer to that. But the Empress card for sure for me, I see a lot more of that imagery and what it might mean in the decks. Okay, so let us get into reversals now. So again, if you are just seeing this video for the first time, you can, in my experience, read reversals in one of two ways, which is too much of the energy of the card or not enough energy of the card. So when we don't have enough Empress energy, we can be suppressing our feminine side. We end up with an imbalance, which is both too much energy, too much Empress energy, not enough Empress energy, but we get an imbalance. We might not be connected to the physicality of ourselves, our sensual energy, our gentleness, and maybe we're not nurturing ourselves enough. With not enough Empress energy as well, and especially with that beauty aspect, we might not feel attractive, we might not feel desired, dealing with that like heart space and that Venus energy, right? If we have too much Empress energy, we can end up being overbearing or smothering. Think of those like helicopter parents, right? Those smothering moms that are just always in the business of everybody in their life or their kids, that overprotective friend. We overprotective. I wrote that right after. That was so overprotective and controlling, comes with too much Empress energy. In both, too much and too little Empress energy, we can end up with stagnancy. Because if we're overbearing and have too much of the Empress energy, that is all of our focus, and we don't give ourselves room to create or have anything else in our lives. If we don't have enough, we don't even have the ability to create in the first place and end up stagnant that way. Either way, it kind of can represent an imbalance. So an imbalance of the physical, most of all, probably, since it's very representative. The Empress card is very representative of that physical, those five senses, that like physical reality. So we can end up out of balance in our physical life, with our weight potentially, with our health. But it can also be representative of the other pieces as well. So our mental and emotional, spiritual state, which is why we need to nurture ourselves more and take care of ourselves more. Big self-care card, I think, if it shows up in reverse. But it's a very pretty card in a lot of decks. It feels very powerful, but very gentle at the same time. Again, that gentle strength, right? Yeah, so that's all I got for y'all today. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. Please subscribe if you feel called to do so. I'd love that very much, or leave a like if you'd like as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!